Hi there. We have such a good topic today. We are talking about how to cut ties and say your goodbyes to unwanted clients. Now, I think a lot of times we think, some people think, why would you ever cut ties? Why would you ever fire a client? Like, how could you do that? How do you do that? We are going to talk about everything you need to know because here's the thing. Do we want to retain clients? Yeah, we want to retain the clients we love. We want to retain the clients that light us up, that we're excited to work with. But we don't want to retain the clients that expect way too much of us, are draining, have unrealistic expectations, right? We want to make sure that, or we're going to cover, I should say, what to do before you cut ties, 5 steps to firing a client, and then the best tips to attracting dream clients so you don't have to fire clients because it's not fun. Let me tell you, okay? Especially when it's somebody who's already clearly you're having problems with, and then to fire them, yeah, it's kind of just like firing an employee who's already giving you problems. It's not always a great thing, but it has to be done, right? So let's first talk about how do you know if you should fire a client, okay? We're going to assess. And this really goes hand in hand with, like I said, employees and clients. There's a lot of things that I want you to even ask yourself, like, okay, do I have employees like this? The reason I brought this up, this actually sparked from one of our powerhouses who is having some problems with one of her clients. And she's like, this isn't fun for me. I'm dreading having to talk to this person today. I'm dreading, right? So I realized as I was teaching her, this isn't as common for others to go through or understand, or maybe they've never done it before. So I want to know, if you're watching this live, have you ever fired a client before? I'm curious. So here are some tips to know if you've got somebody you need to fire. So number one, the client doesn't respect your time. This is actually the reason this sparked, but this is very, very common. Okay. So obviously you need to make sure that you have boundaries first. So just like you might have an employee who's not respecting something, it's like, well, did you set the tone? Right. So remember, you have to tell people, you have to set the boundaries with the client. If you've set the boundaries and the client is still not respecting, right, then yes, you might need to let them go, and more on that in a minute. So somebody that has unrealistic expectations, they expect you to work 24/7. I've literally had a client who DM'd me on a Friday night, like 9 o'clock at night, DM'd me. I didn't respond. And within like 10 minutes, she emailed like, did you get my Facebook message? I'm like, I'm sorry, wait a minute. You DM'd me on a Friday night, and then within 10 minutes, you were expecting a response. So then you emailed me, right? Just crazy things happening like that. So expecting you to work 24/7, not respecting your boundaries of when you work. They expect you to respond within minutes, like you're their only client, right? They're DMing, calling, emailing, texting. Oh man, if you are somebody that has given your cell phone number out to clients, I learned that the hard way many, many years ago. Today, my clients do not have my cell phone number, but back in the day, I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, yeah, here's my number. And then I would start to get calls all the time and on weekends. These people are exhausting. And if they are just somebody that you can't get them on board with your boundaries, it might be time to let them go. Okay, number two, the client is expecting you to do things outside of what was promised or outside of your comfort zone. Okay, so maybe they're not happy, but no one ever promised them XYZ, but they're assuming you should do it, right? This might be one of those situations where these unrealistic expectations are going to be a problem every single time you go to present your work. Okay. So think about that. Number three, disrespectful to you and your team. Oh man, this is my pet peeve. I am very protective of my team. Very. I will not tolerate anybody disrespecting them. I mean, I feel like I'll tolerate disrespectfulness more from myself than from my team. So I once had a client of mine swear at my receptionist, okay? Like swear at her in front of children, first of all. So I called her that day to let her know, unfortunately, she was no longer welcome at the studio, and she was blown away. And I was blown away that she thought that that was okay. And we just set the tone. We don't do that. I didn't give her a warning. I didn't say you can come back if you don't do. No. It was just, it's unacceptable, right? The fact that you thought it was okay to treat others like that, we just don't do that here. And what happens is, I always say you get what you tolerate. Well, when you don't tolerate something and everybody knows, right? Everybody knows that, wow, they kicked her out. They let her go. Everybody kind of like it's like ship up or shape out, right? People go, oh, wow, Stacey's serious. Like she means business over here, right? I need you to make sure that people are taking you seriously and that they don't think they can just walk all over you, right? So that's a big one that we've had to cover. And I just let people know the way that you are speaking to our receptionist or way that you emailed, we will not, this is not happening. Because sometimes clients think they're your boss. They think they're in charge of you. And they forget that we have the right to say, no, thank you. We don't need your business. Okay. Number 4, you're losing money on a client. Okay. This one sounds crazy. I can't believe how many clients I've worked with where they'll show me something and then we literally realize they're not even making money yet with this client and it's an unhappy client situation. Let them go, right? Let them go. Now, I'm not saying maybe you are doing something pro bono, you've given a scholarship, a sponsorship, you willingly are helping somebody because you want to out of the kindness of your heart. Great, amazing. I love that you're doing that. We do that for many, many people. But if this is somebody you do not enjoy working with and they are not paying you or they're paying you late or I've experienced where somebody will have owed somebody $1,000 and they're still producing work for the client and the client isn't paying. You have every right to let them go. Don't go through the stress of working with them. It's just not worth it, right? If they don't pay on time, they're always late, they're always having problems. Why are you going through that stressful situation? Don't let yourself do that, okay? So remember, if you're not making money, you're losing money, time to say goodbye, okay? And if you're like, but I don't want to lose them, I love them. Well, let them know that this is not a mutually beneficial relationship right now. And unfortunately, you're not actually making any money. So you either have to raise your rates. And if they say yes, great, you just given yourself a raise. And if they say no, then you're going to have to part ways, right? Number 5, you dread working with them. This is a big one. This is usually the one that like all of them fall into, okay? So yeah, I love it. Somebody just said, fill that spot with another client you enjoy. Absolutely, you guys. And it's hard to believe that they're out there in the beginning, or it's hard to believe like they'll come when you need them. But the energy you will bring when those clients are gone, oh, you'll replace them with multiples of that person, okay? Number 5, you dread working with them. Have you ever looked at your calendar and thought, oh, shoot, I have to see that person today. It's Tuesday. What day? It's actually Wednesday. I mean, you're like, it's Wednesday. I'm going to run into them. I have that call. I'm going to see them. Like you're just like, you get this gut feeling of, I don't want to do this, right? If you are dreading your day, they shouldn't get that much control. It's time to let it go. Okay. If you have that awful feeling, that is a red flag. That is time to say goodbye. Okay. Number 6, this is my favorite because it's just funny. They actually don't even like you or your work. Okay. I probably experienced this one more than anyone in my business. Okay. So have you ever had like a complainer that, why do I keep, this is hooking up to my phone. Have you ever had a complainer? Oh, we honestly get these at the studio so often, and I shouldn't say so often enough where you're like, what is going on? People complain about everything. And then you realize like, man, I don't think they really like, I've never heard a nice thing from them. And they complain so often that I don't really know if they like anything, right? We've had to like let people go and just say like, it doesn't feel like this is a good fit and you like working with us. Like there's another studio down the road or there's like 4 options and you might be happier over there. And people will be like, this is why it's funny. They're like, what? We love it here. No, we don't want to leave. Like, this is our studio. We're like, do you love it here? Because you write like a weekly Friday email letting us know your complaints for the week. I don't think you do like it here. Like sometimes people are genuinely surprised when your perception of them is that they don't like your business. Okay. Now I will tell you, when you let them know this conversation, a lot of times they kind of like, again, ship up or shape out. They're like, I've got to stop being the person I'm being because they don't even want to work with me anymore. So the more you start to set those boundaries and let them know, the more that you'll have a better situation. Okay. But yeah, like I said, we will send them on their way and they'll come back sometimes begging, going, we had no idea how good we had it. We had no idea you did this and nobody else did. We are so sorry. I'm not even kidding. We literally have people begging, going, we want to be back here. Okay. Now, what I want you to try before you cut ties is because please just don't go fire everybody. You do need to keep clients. Okay. You need to have some people paying you, but I want you to ask yourself, have you set boundaries? When a client comes to me and they say, this person just disrespects me, they text me all the time, or they expected me to do this for them. And I said, well, where's the contract? Like, what did you promise in the contract? What did you say? Oh, we don't really have a contract. I have a contract, but she didn't really sign it, or we didn't really agree to it. Okay, well, do you see how you can't just blame the client all the time? Sometimes there is some ownership that you have to take. Sometimes you're going to say, no, we have a contract. I was very clear, and she's still like fighting me on my boundaries. Okay, then that person needs to let go. If they've been paying late, but you've been letting it slide and have never acknowledged it. Okay, these are things that you've been tolerating, which is why it continues to happen to you. If they have unrealistic expectations, but you haven't set clear ones, right? Well, I'll have a client say, so this person paid for 30 minutes of my time, but they took an hour and a half. I'm like, well, what did you say at the 30-minute mark? Right? I mean, think about it, you guys. If they tripled the amount of time they got with you, how did that happen? Because 30 minutes into a 30-minute time slot with me, I would flat out say, okay, we got to go. I've got a hard stop. Thank you so much. Like, well, I'll have my assistant email you for the next, right? I would wrap it up. So be careful that you aren't putting 100% blame on them if there's something you haven't done. All right. So sometimes it's better to have conversations you should have had when you started. So my point is, don't just go fire everybody. Just say, listen, I think we're having some miscommunication and I'd like to get us back on track. And I want to make sure we just put a contract in place going forward. So you know what you can expect from me. And then I know what you know what I need from you, right? So sometimes people will say, like, especially in my world, well, they expected me to build a funnel, but I'm waiting for them to provide me with XYZ, right? Well, does it say anything like that in the contract? These are all things you have to be thinking about. So maybe it's time you let them know you have new policies or pricing in place. And if isn't a good fit for them, no worries. Like, let them out of their contract immediately, right? So let's talk about, how do you actually break up with a client? Because you guys, I'm not kidding. They already are problem clients. This might not go well. You may be like, get ready to be possibly blasted all over social media. I mean, I literally have had to get the police involved in one situation. And here's the thing, 18 years, police involved only once. That's not that bad. Okay. I'll take it. One time I was literally harassed, like actually being harassed. The police had to get involved from a client that I fired. Not kidding. This is real. And I want you to understand that this can go bad. But I also want you to understand that harassment is not okay. Slander, them like saying things all over the internet that are not true, not okay. And you may need to get the police or a lawyer involved if this ever arises. Okay. Number one, I want you to go back and check what you promised. I want you to finish what you promised, deliver the work, right? Unless you have an extreme contract where you're like, Stacy, we're in month 1 of month 12 and I can't keep working with him or her. Okay. Then yes, that's extreme. And you may want to bring this up and get them out of the contract and say, listen, I'm going to finish this month. I'm going to hand this over to you and we're going to be done, right? Now, number 2, we're going to figure out what would need to happen in order to continue working together, if you even want to. You are not tied, or like you are not like being held to that contract, right? Usually in contracts, it'll even say we have the right to terminate or something like that, right? So here's what I want you to do. If you want to keep working with this person and you think, I think we can come to an agreement, what are the boundaries that you're going to put into place? Do you need to increase your rates? Because if you're losing money, you're not going to keep doing this, right? Maybe their attitude, right? So like, let's say I wanted to keep the lady that swore. Like, let's say it was very out of character, which it wasn't, but let's say it was, and it just has never happened before. She was very remorseful, right? There might be a situation where I say, listen, here's the deal, and here's what I need from you. And if it happens again, we're done, right? That could have been possible. My situation, it was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. And because it was to my team, I wanted to set the tone of, that is not okay here, right? So it could be their attitude. It could be what's expected of them. I have had clients who are trying to do work for other clients, but the client themselves is the holdup. They're the bottleneck. And then the person that I'm working with, they're like, they feel so bad because they're thinking, I'm trying to give the work they want. I'm trying to give them what they need, but they aren't holding up their end of the bargain and it's preventing them to do the work. So you may have to say, I need this from you on the first of every month. I need a meeting once a week. I need doesn't matter. You let them know. Okay. Then what are you able to provide them? All right. So that's just step number 2 here in the how to fire. So step number 3. Yes, throw your questions in the chat, you guys. I'll get to as many as I can. Okay. So step number 3, I want you to set up a meeting to discuss the new contract and establish the boundaries. Sending somebody a contract or just like sending out a mass email with the new contract, I would actually, especially with a problem client, I would actually say, okay, I want to make sure we're on the same page here. Can we have a meeting? Like, what does this look like? I want to make sure you're fully aware of what we expect, right? I just want to make sure that you aren't doing something mass thinking like, well, I hope she knows it's her. No, you guys, no. Okay. No one thinks it's them. No, you have to talk to this person directly because no one will take ownership, right? So set the meeting up, go over the new contract, establish the new boundaries, right? Or set up the meeting to let them know that you're just not renewing. Because some of you may have these clients that you do not want to renew with. There are people that we work with that we have literally told the sales team, like, do not try to get them to re-enroll. Do not, like, they aren't even welcome in this program. Like, please do not, right? We have that conversation sometimes. So even if somebody's like trying to pay us, it might be a no, right? Number 4, have them sign off on whatever needs to happen and make sure everybody is clear. So maybe you don't have a contract with them from the get-go 6 months ago, but it's time to put one in place. It is not weird, even if you've been working with them for 10 years. If you have to pull out something to get them to sign, do it, right? Time to get everybody on the same page. So if they break it coming down into the future, you can say, listen, we had that meeting. I told you what was expected. You agreed. You said you were going to do it. This isn't working, right? So a signed contract is a great thing to have to reference later because unfortunately, you guys, some of these problem clients can be saved and a lot of them, it's just repeat offenders. Like they are who they are, right? Their personality is their personality. Sometimes we can save them and sometimes we can convince them and sometimes we can't, right? Number 5, I want you to hold them to it because if they break the contract a day later, a week later, then they just know the contract is void, right? They just know like she wasn't really serious. He's not really going to enforce this. So when you say, I am not going to be responding, I'm only going to be responding between 8 to 4 Monday through Friday, and you respond at Saturday at 10 p.m. the first day that they do it, you've just allowed that contract to be void, okay? Number 5 is the hardest part. We don't want to be the bad guy. We were like, oh, she did it again. Okay. And we just make excuses for them. But number 5 is the most important. You have to hold them to it or you can't blame them. You've got to take responsibility for what you are allowing. All right. Now, attracting your dream clients. Here's the thing, you guys. Start to let go of the bad clients and start to really put it out there who you are trying to attract and who you are and what you do and all of that. Okay. So being more particular on attracting the right person is going to make you fire less, which is what we all want, right? If you're firing clients all the time, something is wrong with your messaging, right? This should be few and far between. This is not something where you're like, oh, we got another one. Then your messaging, your marketing, something is incorrect. Okay. So get clear on who you want. Who is your perfect person, not people? One of the things that we recently did, I would say in the last month or 2, was we updated our company mission at Foot Traffic. We literally changed the word. We used to say like, we help small business owners. And we actually put in the word powerhouse in front of the word entrepreneur. Because what a powerhouse is to me is like a go-getter, an action taker. They are serious business women or men. They are in it for the long haul. They're not looking for quick fixes. They're looking for long-term success and they're taking massive action. Like they're doers. So the reason I put this in there is because I said to my team, don't bring me anybody that isn't a powerhouse. If they are somebody looking to make $100 a month, side hustling it, like just a little bit of income here and there. This isn't really their thing. They're going to kind of do it. Nope, not our person. Just flat out tell them they're going to hate the program. I'm a little too intense for like the side hustle, right? I'm trying to attract the real business owner who, when I say I have a 7-figure business, they're like, I want that. If you're like, I don't really want a 7-figure business, you're probably not my person. And I'm okay saying that. And I'm okay with you hearing that and going, yeah, I don't really want that. Okay. Because the way that I work and the way that I do it, I'm trying to attract the person who is similar to me, who's like, I want it all. Like, let's go and let's go fast. And if that's not you, we can still be friends. You can still watch my Facebook Lives, but you're probably not going to love my programs, right? So get very crystal clear on who it is you're trying to serve. Stop saying yes to everyone. We are literally turning people down for Powerhouse. Like, not even kidding when I say that. We are turning people away saying, that you're not ready for it quite yet. Let's get you in foot traffic. Let's get you doing some things. Once we get you here, let's have you apply then. But we're not just being like, oh, perfect. You want to pay us money? Come on in. No. Because it will turn into a situation we'll have to let people go, right? So when you're clear on your messaging, when you are clear on your person, you're going to be getting so many more referrals of dream clients, right? Because your dream people refer their friends who are similar to them. When you bring in the wrong people, you get wrong referrals. You don't want that, right? Make sure you have a statement, like I just said, of who your product, program, or service is for and who it is not for. Okay. That is a big one. Be consistent in everything you do from free to paid. The inconsistency is probably attracting an inconsistent audience. All right. Can I say that again? Your inconsistent messaging and marketing is probably attracting an inconsistent person. You're getting a lot of different people coming in. And then, as best I say this, but I know it's hard, don't be afraid to turn people away, especially if you're like, but I need money. I get it. But those people are never worth the money. It's like, take your money back. Please don't. And then they just drain you. They suck the energy out of you. I literally have to teach my powerhouses. So many of my clients, I'm like, listen, I know this person pays X amount of dollars, but we spend way too much time on our coaching calls talking about them that we could be talking about how to get new dream clients and not how to solve the next crisis that has occurred, right? So be careful. The next thing is share testimonials of dream clients. So other potential clients will resonate with them. If you're sharing, and I've seen this happen before, I'm like, wait, isn't that the girl that's on your website at the bottom that has this really cool testimonial about you? They're like, well, yeah, it was a good testimonial. I'm like, yeah, but if she's like, or he's like other people that are not your dream clients and they resonate and see that testimonial, you might attract more of them. Now, think about that. How many of you have a testimonial or something like promoting these people that maybe you do not love working with, and you are publicly blasting this? And what are testimonials for? They're for potential clients to resonate with that statement and say, if that will work for them, it'll work for me. But what are we doing putting the wrong people in the testimonials? So only talk to your perfect person. Do not just start saying, oh, perfect. Come on over. Yep, you too. Yeah, let's just do this, or no. You don't have to apologize to who you're talking to because they know they're here listening, even if it's not for them. So for instance, I've never been an MLM, a network marketer, but I guarantee there are some that are listening. But because I've never said attention network marketers or whoever, I don't have to apologize for not addressing network marketing. But the network marketer who is a powerhouse, she's like, I don't care. This content's good. I'm getting something out of it. I'll make it work because they're resourceful, right? And she feels good and I feel good. So be really, really careful. Now, remember, when you say yes to your ideal clients, your best work will come out. You will be happier. Your business affects your personal life. Your personal life will be better. How many of you have vented to your spouse? How many of you have vented to your team about this person? No one wants to talk about the person that's draining everybody, right? So you've got to start saying no so you can open up and say yes to the right people. Because trust me, they will take your energy. They will exhaust you. They will distract you. That's the worst part, is they are distracting and they can be really, really hard on your business, okay? So when you say, I can't afford to let them go, I need the money, right? You are spending your time on the wrong type of people. So be really, really careful. Okay, we got some good questions. How do you differentiate between someone that is providing negative feedback that you dislike or disagree with and someone that needs to be fired? Firing someone may cause everyone to ship up or shape out, but does it also discourage your clients to giving from providing feedback? Okay, cool. I love this question. So, with that said, you do want to be doing surveys and you do want to be doing like, how are you getting feedback, right? So, I always like a couple things that happen at our studio. One thing is people like to speak for other people. Like, by the way, everybody hates this. Really? Because you're the only email, like you're the only person that said anything. So we always just say to our dance moms, because there are some dance moms that are phenomenal. And then there's like one or two that you're like, hey, no, no, no. So we just say, first, thank you for your feedback, but we cannot take everybody's feedback. They have to let us know. So we can't let you speak for somebody else, but we can let you speak for you. So this is a big thing. People like to gang up and say like, oh no, this is really it, right? So I want you to understand that, yes, take the feedback. So one of the things that happened, this is a great example. My team, we received a negative, a negative review on one of our products called Monetize 365. Now, the way that the email was written was really nice. Like, I respect this woman. She was basically like, I love the content machine. Your Monetize 365 was lacking, right? So what did we do? First, I was like, are you kidding me? First, for an initial reaction. But then I said, okay. I'm like, okay, let me just think about this. Let's go look at it. So I said to the team, does any one of you feel that this is lacking? What do you guys think? Right? Have we heard any other complaints before? That's a big one. Is anybody else complaining? Is anybody else saying the same thing? If no one else is saying the same thing, it might be a one-off, because you will get one-off people that disagree, but they're not the norm. We want to know, is this the majority or is it a minority, right? If it's one person or a very small fraction, you have to understand, I've learned this the hard way, you can't please everybody. So we have like a group at our studio of like 100 competitive dancers. We can never please 100% of them, but we do our best to please the majority. We give what the majority wants. Okay. So that's the first question. Now, she was the only complaint. So we could have just been like, never mind, it's just a minority. But I did say, well, I could see how she was expecting XYZ. Okay. So we took the feedback, the team and we beefed up the program. So if you have Monetize 365 and you checked it, but like a month ago, if you go back in the program, you will see we added things in there. Okay. We even emailed the woman and said, by the way, we respect your feedback. Thank you for sending it. And it actually gave us a reason to do this. So we even gave her access to the program after we refunded it and was like, and here you go. So sometimes the feedback can be very valid and you have to ask the team, right? Like if it's just you, then do this by yourself. But for me, I'm like, hey team, what do you think? So I can get other people's opinions. So that's the biggest thing is this a one-off statement? Is this not, right? So again, if somebody's like, oh no, it is everybody. Nope. One person, one voice. Like imagine if you went to the polls yesterday and you were like, listen, my whole subdivision, they're interested in voting for Trump. Can I vote for them? They'd be like, are you kidding me? No, like bring in your neighborhood. Like you don't get to just like everybody want, no. One person, one voice. So let them know, thank you for your feedback. And if there is a group of people, please let them know. Now, when we say this in the dance world, we will sometimes get like another one or two people, but like the 10 that she said, no one else does it, right? And sometimes too, what we've noticed is like a dance mom, they might vent, right? They might be like, this is horrible. Why are they doing this? And then some of the moms are like, I know, that's dumb. But then like, they don't really feel that way. They're just like trying to be nice to that person. So like this person starts to believe like everybody does hate this program. Everybody does hate whatever. And then they don't complain to us. And they're like, and literally we've had people say like, I actually think you're doing a good job. Like we like this, right? So again, go to your people, get the feedback you need, but get a well-rounded opinion. Don't go just to a couple, right? Get that opinion. Okay, Honey says, I'm ready to let go of one. And I'm glad that this maybe kind of like brought that to light to let them know, because sometimes it just has to happen. It's like the bad employee that has to be let go, the negative client you've got to let go of. I am not kidding when I say when we do it, we're like, like it feels lighter in here. Everybody's happy. It feels different, which is crazy. So when I say the energy and it drains you, it will feel different. Okay. What's the best way to let go of a client? Would you recommend calling, emailing, etc.? Honestly, I don't know. I guess how are you already talking to them, right? Like let's say you were having a full-on conversation in an Instagram DM. You might have the conversation there. If you naturally like it's kind of weird if you meet with this person every single Monday and then you maybe just like shoot them a DM. Like that might feel a little off, right? But like stay with what you're currently doing. If you guys are Zoom, if you are phone calls, if you are in person, I would just do it right then and there. I would say I probably let the most amount of people go via phone only because I'm not really in my building. And here's another reason I do it over the phone. I don't want them in my building having a freak out moment as I let them go in front of other people. So it's a private matter. It's not like I would do it in front of other people. Does that make sense? I'm so glad you said that. Really good question. Yeah. So be thinking about that as you are kind of working towards it. Now, again, I have fired a handful of clients in 18 years. If you are firing people left and right, I need you to take ownership. Something is wrong, okay? Something is wrong. Somehow you're letting them slip in or you made what I find is you're just you don't have boundaries. You're tolerating too much stuff. You don't have to tolerate it. And a lot of times when I'm talking to my powerhouses and they're coming to feedback with this because they're in a place where they're getting lots of yeses, right? So their rosters are getting large. And when the bigger you get, the more that you're going to have problem clients or you're going to have complaints and you're not going to have 100% of people happy. Like in the beginning, you have 10 clients. You might actually have 10 people that love you. You might have 100% satisfaction guarantee. When I have 1,000 clients every year, trust me, that would be impossible to please 100 or 100% of 1,000 people. It's just not going to happen. But it should be a handful. And I will say, out of like the times that it has happened, I can maybe say like 2 or 3 situations that it didn't go very well. And the other times people are like, you know what? You're right. I appreciate us having this conversation. We are going to check out some other places. Because it's not like we're saying like you're not good enough. It's like we aren't working together, right? You need this and we need this, and it's not meshing. Okay. You don't have to come at it to be like, you're a problem client and I can't work with you anymore. No, no, no. It's just like, this might not be a good fit, right? So this is something that happens a lot, okay? A lot. And if any of my powerhouses are on here, you're like, she's totally talking about my story right now because it is something that starts to get more and more common. You're like, oh shoot, this person wants a refund. They expected this. They didn't want that, okay? So I really, really want you asking yourself. So what I want you to know is let me know of what you think of today's episode. How are you going to start to use this? Because here's the thing. You're either going to use it to let somebody go today, to think about if you should let somebody to go, put better boundaries in place. You might go, I'm not really focusing on my marketing well enough that I need to actually make sure I'm attracting the right kind of person, right? I will say, just like when you let a bad employee go, usually the team, they're happy. It's not just like you're having the problem with the employee, it's usually like the team itself. So a lot of times when you let a problem client go, other people are excited. Now, I will say this, my last comment. We've held on to problem clients too long. And like, okay, so here's a great example. The person that we should have kicked out for a long, long time, we let her stay. And then 3 people left because we didn't kick that person out. Does that make sense? That's the worst, you guys. You think, I can't afford this. And then if it impacts other people, it can really bite you in the long run. So I would say the longer you hold on to clients that interact with other clients and it's not working well, it can negatively impact the experience of your other customers. So sometimes you're trying to save 1 and you lost 3 because of it. That like stings so bad. And it's like, but it's a hard conversation. It's a difficult conversation. And a lot of times we just want to get out of those difficult conversations, but you can't get out of it. You can only delay it. And the longer you delay, it's costing you money and it's going to hurt your business even more. Okay. Now, before I go, make sure you know that we are in the middle, we just started actually, of our Plan to Profit series every Monday in the free Facebook group, the Foot Traffic Community. I will be going live doing a free 5-part series the entire month of November. These are 5 bonus episodes that will not be on the podcast, but they'll be in the Facebook group. So with that said, we're going to be helping you plan your focus, your bestseller, creating a strategy plan, and creating your profit plan for 2021. So we're doing that all November. So you are set up, ready to go. When January 1st kicks off, you will be ready. All right. I'll see you in the free Facebook group, the Foot Traffic Community. See you there. Bye, everyone.